Yes, back at you with another lesson. Akim, giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kwadash. Give double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. And the house of David is rising in the year of turn up. And yes, things are definitely on the up and up, turning up. And it's not up for the wicked. Things are not turning up for the wicked. It's not on the up and up. It's on the downfall. They're on the spiral, and the house of David is on the uprising, rising up, on the up and up. Yeah, man. I just wanted to take a look at this precept here. 1 Corinthians chapters 1 and 27. And Lord willing, we're going to get into it and get more acquainted with some of these words. First, I'll read it. It says, "For God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty." So we're going to go in, and as we're going through it, I'm going to explain to you why I wanted to get into this precept. There's a particular reason why I wanted to go into this and look into certain words. There's a lot of good edification. Lord willing, it will be edifying. A lot of good edifying words in it. And like I say, we're getting more acquainted with particular words through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shemeshah. So, yeah, man. So, but God hath chosen, I'll read it again, the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. Right? I don't want to go into this word because, you know, we have to look at things sometimes from the outside looking in. So what was Google going to say about foolish? Yeah. Lacking good sense or judgment, unwise, stupid, silly, idiotic, half-witted, witless, brainless, mindless. Yeah. Reminds me back in the school days, man. Let's have a look at this one. So that was foolish. And here's another one. Yeah, some of these words remind me going back to the days of school. Lacking the power to perform physically demanding tasks, having little physical strength or energy, frail, feeble, puny, fragile, delicate, weak, infirm, sick. Right, so that's from the outside looking in, from what Google may say, or has to say. And yeah, when you go back into the blue letter, the actual precept, that is how we're seen. We're seen like these things. Lacking the power to perform physical demanding tasks, having little physical strength or energy. Yeah, as a matter of fact, let's get the etymology. It breaks it down a little bit better when it says about the word weak. Weak, cognate with Old English, weak, plant, soft. Right, soft. Let's get to the point here. Weak, soft, tender. Old High German, yielding, soft. Root, weak. Right, sense of lacking authority. That's the word. Right, we don't have no authority in this world. It's first recorded, right, lacking moral strength. Grammar denoting verb inflicted by regular syllabic addition rather than be change of radical vowels. Wanting in resolve. There you go. Lacking authority. That's where we're going with this one. We're weak. The men of the law today, when it goes back into the blue letter, are described as weak, right? Chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. Where is it? Yeah, the weak have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. Right, lacking authority. Back to the etymology. Weak in the sense that lacking authority. So a man's going to come along. We have no authority. Yeah, God have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. Someone who is weak with no authority is going to confound someone with authority, according to the definition of the word, the etymology. Someone with no authority is going to come along and confound someone with authority, according to this world anyway, right? Because these people like the centurions, the MPs today, those who speak eloquently, who have been to those high learned schools, classically taught, as what the brother was going into the video I uploaded, one of the brothers, them, so lucky I don't know your name at the moment, from the London Central camp. Why do one of the scoffers, replying to one of the scoffers, why do brothers appear to have speech problems or speech impediments, which some brothers may do, like lisping or stammering, in my case dyslexia, and according to the world we're described as weak things, right, or foolish things. Yeah, that's how we're looked at. People with a low education are looked at as foolish, stupid, silly. This is how they see us, you understand? Because we don't have the alphabet, you know, GEDs and all the master's degrees. If you haven't got a master's, you know, if you ain't got no the education, you're nothing. And I had that was told to me in the Christian church by one of the overseers. You know, they was pushing me to be able to be a high speaker, a good speaker, and I was never about being in the limelight and being prominent in the church. And I explained to him, and he says, yeah, if you ain't got no education, he was talking about the world. And he was Scottish, and he could have been, thinking back, he could have been a Jake. Because in some of these churches, a lot of these churches, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons and all these places, I was in the Jehovah's Witness, there's a whole heap of white people in there. Some of them are in there for, we know, some of them are in there for agendas, reasons, for all kinds of different reasons, for wicked reasons, and some of them may be in there who may be Jakes, looking like all different Israelite foreigners to learn and to in sincerity. But from a worldly perspective, what the overseer said, yeah, we are looked at, if you haven't got no education in this world, you're nothing. The more education you have, the higher you up in the education ladder. Let's just say that. In this world, the higher and the more accepted you are, and the more further you can go as far as making it in this world. And we're not about making it in this world. We just, as it says in Timothy, the bare necessities is what is necessary. But we're not about higher learning and making it. And if you happen to have a high IQ, we know you're going to use that most predominantly for the truth. And you're gonna look after your family. You're gonna look after all the necessary things that need to be looked after if you have an IQ. And there's nothing wrong with having an IQ, high IQ, if you use it right, in the right way. If you're backed with wisdom and the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. But for the most part, the Most High is using people. These are the people that He's chosen, so that He can put His spirit upon them and within them. Right? He's chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are. Because for those, for the most part, well, let's go in now. Let's go in and look at some of these words here. People who have high education and high learning, they don't believe you can tell them nothing. That's what the spirit that they come with. They can't be taught. They believe that they're above you. They can't be told anything. They can tell you, they can correct you, they can criticize you, but you can't criticize them because they know everything, you see. So we're going to look at this word here now. First of all, we're going to go in. That's the problem with people who have a high, so-called high IQ. They can't be taught. The Most High is calling people, these people, so-called by the world view, foolish people, to confound the wicked.
Strong's G 3474. Moras. Moras.
Foolish. Let's look at this. Now, according to the blue letter. Foolish people, impetuous, godless, foolish. Right? That's what it says. The worldly people look at us like that. Right? But the Most High has chosen them. Why? Because He's going to do, He has a mission for them. Right? If you're godless and you come into this truth, you ain't going to be godless for very long. If the Most High sees something in you. Right? The foolish people of the world, what's He going to do? And we want to look at another word. Look at another word in here. God have chosen, first of all, we looked at the foolish people and the weak people.
Strong's G 772. Asthenes. Asthenes.
Now this is straightforward. This ain't have to be no long video, no long drawn out thing. Simple and plain, straight to the point. Just looking into the words here. Weak, yeah, that was what Google did say. Infirm, feeble. Google did mention that. That's a to a certain point, yeah. Infirm, feeble, weak. Most High is drawing the weak people out of this world, right? As a negative particle and the base of strength in various literal, figurative, and moral. More, feeble, important, sick, without strength, weak, yeah. And a lot of us brothers do have weaknesses and sicknesses, yeah, and feeble. And you go through stages in life, just in life in general anyway. You go through stages in life. But the Most High, as what one of the brothers did say, you have days where you're strong, or times when you're strong. The Most High is building you up. He balances everything out. He puts some stumbling blocks in front of you to refine you, to strengthen you, to break you down first and foremost, and then after that to build you up, to strengthen you. So yeah, you have stages. You may at times have sicknesses to deal with. You may feel weak at times. Some brothers have them illnesses they contend with all throughout their lives most of the time, and Most High builds them up, you know. But it's all down to you, how you to build up your faith, to get strong. And a lot of it has to do with faith and calling upon on the Most High, supplicating, yeah, which means to beg. So you don't stay in that, and not to give up, so you don't stay in that state. Nobody wants to be in a weak state, but I'm just making a point. These are the type of people the Most High have called so that He can build them up, give them spirit, give them strength, make them stronger. And the real point is here, what is another word here? He's going to use them to do what? Confound. Let's take a look at this word. Just a couple of words to look at in this precept.
G 2617. Katais chuno.
It shows the weak things of the world, the foolish things of people of the world, so-called, from the outside looking in. But maybe we're not so stupid if the Most High has called us. The Most High He's got a job for us to build us up, right? And this is even now in these bodies. Not even talking about when we get the new bodies. Right now we're talking about these fleshly bodies. And we know we're just worms to the Most High, right? So He's going to use us to do what? To dishonor the wicked, the so-called strong of this world, people with authorities, the high learned people, the educated people, those people who are so-called well spoken, right? Good communicators, maybe they're good good at narrating very well, and good orators, being able to communicate, use good words, educated words. But I remember someone said to me a little while ago, he said, you know these Edomites, a lot of these E's, they use all these big words a lot of the time, and there's no need for them big words. All you need to do is just make it plain. And they don't make themselves understood with all those big words, going around in circular locution, using big words and not being able to communicate their point. It's all about image for the most part. for the bad image and putting over a good impression. That is why a lot of people use big words when you don't need to. But we're going to do what? Dishonor and disgrace, yeah, the so-called weak, right, of this world, or the foolish, are going to do what? To put to shame, make ashamed, to be ashamed. With shame, one is said to be put to shame, to suffer repulse, or whom some hope has deceived, yeah. And I'll just say this, my vision last night, and I don't know where the vision just come from, but I was back in, this could have been back in school, but I've never seen this place before. I was somewhere, and you had some people making mockery and laughing at me, right? Just laughing at me, and I saw faces, but they were just laughing at me. You see, you got people that would just do that. Oh, he can't speak like me. He's not educated like me, and you know, that's the kind of things that people do, like bullies do that at school, don't they? He can't do that like me. He can't do this like me. He can't do that. You know, he can't dress like me. He can't bust them bad boy trainers. You can't, but you know, you ain't got Adidas. You ain't got Diodora. You know, that's what happens in school. You see, people compare, and they start to belittle and brag and boast. But let's read this again. This is what the Most High said. For those people that have been belittled and bragged, taunted and teased, maybe it happened to you, maybe in the truth, out there on the highways and the byways, maybe at college, maybe with your family, maybe you was the so-called, I'll say, black sheep of the family, the one that didn't seem to be doing very well, didn't keep up with the rest, didn't get all the degrees, bring good jobs into the house, bring money into the house. It's the so-called black sheep of the family, which is just a term, a negative term put on black people. So I'm just using that just so you can understand. But really, the right term is you was more like a David in the house, looked down upon amongst all the other brothers. Yeah, Jesse didn't even look favorably upon his own son David. Jesse, the father of King David. So he was looked upon unfavorably among his brothers, and he was chosen last when Samuel came to the house to anoint somebody, a man after his own heart. He chose King David, which was a mere boy at the time, a mere suckling, a mere boy who was ruddy, yeah, otherwise described as very young. So he was what you might call there a foolish person, a weak person, or they thought he was. They thought he was weak, and they thought he was foolish. But unbeknown to them, he was slaying bears and lions out there in the farm, in the fields, that was coming to try and abuse and, you know, yam and thief the sheep. So David was a mighty man, even as a boy. But the Most High chose him. He wasn't looked at as a mighty man. He wasn't looked at as anything. A stripling. That's the other word for him. A young tender boy, not looked upon as nothing. Despised. Right. 28. And the base things of the world, and he was based. He was looked at as based. Yeah. Base things of the world and things which are despised, God have chosen, yes, and the things which are not, to bring to naught the things that are. Yeah, I was in school. It was like some kind of school, and I was doing some kind of test, man. And you had people mocking and laughing at me, and I can't remember the end of the dream, but I think it ended up good. And I'm not going to just throw anything out there, but the rest of it might come back to me. But they was ended up mocking me. I wasn't doing too well, and everybody started looking at me, and for some reason started laughing, and they walked up and they walked out. But be careful, man. Be careful who you mocking, and be careful according to this precept we're looking at here. Yeah, Jesse was surprised when David was chosen by the prophet. I think it was the prophet Nathan that chose David. He anointed him, right, amongst all of the other brothers, because he was looked at as what? A foolish man, a base man, a weak man, despised. Right, God have chosen, yes, the things which are not, yes, somebody who was not, to bring to now the things that are. So we've got some more words to look at. There's always beautiful words we can get into and look at. You start doing a video, you look at one word, and then next thing you know, it leads you to another word. Right, man? Base things. Let's look at that. Based.
Strong's G36. Agenes. Agenes.
Alright, based. Base things of the world, to put the strong things of the world to shame. Base things. Ignoble, coward, mean, base of a family that is low born. Base, right? Point made on that one. Base. Base things of the world to do what? That things are despised. Another word, despised.
Strong's G 1848. Exuthaneo. Exuthaneo.
So you describe that one. The things of the world which are despised. And we also despise too. And the meaning of the same, despised, least esteemed. Yeah, King David was least esteemed, even by his own father and by his brothers. He was the last result. They least expected King David to be anointed as king, eventually king over Israel, ultimately king over Saul, who was rejected. Right? King Saul at first was highly esteemed until he didn't slay Amalek, the King Amalek, and he made up a load of excuses why he didn't slay the king and dispose of all the sheep, right, and the cattle. He turned out to be the real weak person, the despised. He turned out to be the weak and the cowardly out of all when it came down to it. And it was David that eventually was seen to be the man who was strong in the spirit, of course, in the spirit, and all through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. So we looked at the word there, despised. God chose them, right? He chose them, right? Let's have one more word. Yeah, I think we got enough out of this. Doesn't have to be no long drawn out video. Chosen. Because what do we want to be? We want to be chosen.
Strong's G 1586. Eklegomai. Eklegomai.
And another thing.
Lexicon. Eklego. Eklego.
Alright. And ultimately that King David was chosen through his faith. And like I say, his heart. Yeah, he was a man of the Most High's own heart. He was a man of the Lord. And he was chosen for his faith. And the Most High could bring him up to a level because of his faith. Yeah. To pick out, to choose, to pick, to choose out for one's self. The Most High chose King David. Yeah. At that time, a mere stripling. Chosen one out of many. Yeah. Yahushua choosing his disciples. Yeah, there's an example there. Choosing one for an office. King David was chosen for an office. And like that, and also the disciples were choosing for an office. And God chose whom he judged fit to receive his favors and separate from the rest of mankind to be peculiar. And ultimately, Yahshua Allah, all of Yahshua Allah, will be back in the kingdom. Even the rejected on this side, the 2/3, even them, right? In Daniel 12 talks about they're going to be back for a periodically with their heads down, but then we're going to embrace them after a period of time. We're going to embrace them. We're going to be merciful to them, right? In the kingdom, because they went off and they were programmed to go off anyway. So we're going to receive favors and separate. All Israel going to receive favors separated from the rest of mankind to be his peculiar. his own, and to be attended continually by his gracious oversight. So yes, he's chosen us ultimately out of all the nations. Yeshua, the Prince of the Power, have been chosen. But at first, to get those, to reach those people, we have to go back to this. For God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. The foolish things of the world, in this world of you, that's, you might have a speech impediment, don't worry about it. You might have dyslexia. In my case, if you're of the Most High, if you're chosen of the Most High, don't worry about it. Continue. Do the work. Whether he releases you of your speech impediment or your dyslexia or your HDD or whatever other thing that you may be contending with. A lot of brothers have them. Yeah, described as weak things, which are illnesses. They're all illnesses. Weak things, like we looked at the word, can go back to being ill, sick. and people may look at you and mock you as well, you see, because you're not like, you're not a part of their, a part of the world. And that's it. You're not a part of the world. Weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. Yeah. And the base things of the world. Oh yeah, there's another word. This is another thing that came to me too. Right? Go back to the movie, the Matrix movie, when they went into the Oracle, the old woman smoking cigarettes in the ghetto house, and they went and visited her because they wanted the update, the Oracle, which means to be able to forecast the future. When we looked up the word in one of my videos, to be able to give you updates. But they had it in the first Matrix movie. The Oracle was an old lady, which that's off, doing forecasting the future. And she said to Neo, because Neo was the one who was chosen according to the movie, she said to Neo, there is no spoon. Yeah, there is no spoon. In other words, you got to figure out that there is no spoon. And anything you put to your mind, if you say to yourself there is no spoon, the world is your oyster. Anything is possible. And there was in the house also, when they visited the house, there was a load of other mutant looking people, outcasts of society, and they all was freaks of nature, right? So mutant, what is a mutant? A freak of nature. Deviant, oddity, monstrosity, monsters. Yeah, that's that's how they see us, believe it or not. You might have been in school, they might have thought you was a bit odd. They might have mocked you. According to the dream, back to the dream I had last night again, which is why it kind of gave me more reason to do this video. People laughing at me, mocking me. Why are you like everybody else? Why you have to be so different? Well, we looked at the word. We're peculiar people. We're just peculiar in whatever way you want to put it. In any other way, there's the only one way you can put it. We're peculiar people, right? And God chose, as we looked at the word chosen, described as peculiar people. So I'm going to read it once more, and in the video, point is already made, man. So this backs up why you people look at us and say, why most of you brothers got speech impediments. We're giving it to you now, here, precept by precept. Because God chose, but God have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. God have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are and mighty. Let that settle. Let that marinate, all you Akim. Right, with your weaknesses and your frailties, and you sometimes want to be healed, but it's all for the Most High's glory and praise. This is his movie, and just play your position and enjoy it, right? Because you have been chosen, man. Continue with your role in this movie. It's blessed, as what the brother did say. I'd rather be in this movie, in this truth, with my impediments. And there may be more than one, some of us, with my impediments. Some of them may be speech, some of them may be other things. Doing this work for the Most High and being out there in the world with a perfect health, perfect eloquent speech, good job, good GEDs or whatever else they may have, master degrees, and not be chosen by the Most High. I'd rather be in this truth, used by the Most High with my impediments. Right. Beautifully said, brother. Right. And the base things of the world and the things which are despised of God, chosen, yeah, the things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. Giving our praises to Yahweh Hashem Yoshai. I'm not the best at explaining things, but Lord willing, I explained that all right, and it was edifying through the precepts to the praise and glory of the Most High. The Wada to Yahweh Hashem Yoshai for giving me the spirit to do this video, and the house of David is rising. On to the next one.